What it do, Terps fans, what it do? I'm back again. This time, I'm going to make you guys a recap of the first official Maryland 21 football season depth chart. There's some few surprises in there, some few fine nuggets in there that I might have dropped on y'all. But yeah, this basically is like a video I'm about to make dedicated to just the first official depth chart. West Virginia Ncaa, guys, is officially on. Football game, the first game of the season is on Saturday in College Park. Can't motherfucking wait. This is the show me season for Maryland. Show me season. I call this the show me season. This is the season I want to see these guys prove we are no longer the old Maryland that show up and get beat by 30 plus. I expect this season for us to compete in every ball game and compete at least a majority of our ball games. And then next year is the show out season. It's the year where these young kids getting their feet wet. Next year they pay dividends. Next year I expect us to be one of the better football teams in the entire conference. But this year, it's called respect season. It's the year we show up every ball game and compete. And the depth chart, I'm just going to read it out for y'all, and I'm going to give you guys my few of my nuggets that I think about it, all right? Quarterback, first of all, got to start at quarterback. All good things in the football team start with the quarterback. Will be Tualea Tagovailoa, Jr., backed up by Rhys Udensky. Running back Tayon Fleet Davis, senior. The backup will be Chalin Fayamatu, JUCO kid, senior kid that would just give a scholarship to during the Ravens game. You know what I'm saying? And the third string running back going to week 1 will be Isaiah Jacobs, the sophomore, the younger brother of the Oakland Raiders running back. Left tackle will be Jalen Duncan, Jr., third-year starter. This is why you play those guys young. So when they get to this level, they're full-blown. You expect them to play at all-conference level. And Jalen Duncan was all-conference honorable mention last year in the short season. This year, I expect him to be a first or second string all-conference. Hopefully first, because he has the talent. All right. And backing him up will be Delmon Glaze, a sophomore. Again, we had a lot of last year's class 2 cycles ago, not this coming past cycle. 2 cycles ago, we basically recruited about 6, 7 offensive linemen. And it might not pay dividend this year, but next year is when those things pay dividend. But you got to start playing these guys early. So you see a lot of these guys in the 2 deep this year. All right. Delmon Glaze, sophomore, massive kid, has all the potential in the world to be great. All right. We'll be backing up Jalen Duncan, our starter, our left tackle. Our left guard is a new starter, Mason Longsford, a kid who the staff have been high on all camp. And clearly, he hasn't backed off in his hot start since the spring. He's just continued that in the fall. Mason is ready, extremely smart, one of the brightest kids on the team. Extremely tough. You know what I'm saying? He might not be the athlete as some of these guys are, but Mason is one of the toughest and one of the brightest. Very smart. And he's going to be able to read the game and help the other guys as time goes by, all right? So he's a sophomore, only a sophomore, guys. And Jaquil Green will back up Mason Longswell left guard. Another sophomore kid from St. Francis Academy, big-time game when we got him, because schools like West Virginia really wanted him. We got him. Jaquil Green, sophomore. Christopher Love is another kid that I'm really high on, another sophomore, part of the classes we had last year. All these kids, sophomores, they're going to be really good next year, all right? But this year is the time you want to get them in there, get their feet wet. Last year, they got a taste of it. This year, they got to get their feet wet. And then next year, it's time to take off, all right? So Jaquil Green and Christopher Love will back up Mason Longsford. All 3 of them are sophomores. Big time for the future of this program, all right? At center, a new starter, a guy who I'm sure the staff, when they recruit him out of JUCO, Independence Community College, he started there. He led them to a championship there. They were hoping he really come into Maryland ready to play so he can start. Because the starters we had last year, that center position was one of the positions we really struggled. We were forced to move Johari Branch, our left guard, starting left guard last year, to center at some point because there was just too much struggling going on in injuries. So this year, Eric Harris, JUCO kid, first-year JUCO kid, is going to be the starter. Sophomore kid, again, another sophomore. A lot of young guys in this starting lineup, 2 deep. And backing up Eric Harris will be Johari Branch. The starting left guard last year, the job has been given to Mason Longsford this year, but Johari Branch is actually the starter at right guard this year. So Johari Branch will be the starter at right guard, and he will back up the center position. Again, he played some last year because of guys not performing up to their abilities or injuries. So And the backing up Jehovah Branch at right guard is the guy who I thought when we recruit him would be a center by now, starting center by now. That's Evan Gregory. 4-star coming out of the matter, have him pan out. This is one of the reasons why I'm really not as high as the local kids and some of y'all might think. Because quite frankly, the local guys we have had with high stars have them pan out in Maryland. So again, to a point, let's go out, let's go out of state and get dogs. Because these local kids, I don't know what's going on with them. They ain't putting in the work when they do come to College Park. So I don't got time for that. Even some of the kids, the Penn that I've had who are highly recruited, like Shane Simmons, have them pan out in college. So these kids are just not performing that went to the matter. Not every year to produce a Chase Young. That's just what it is. It's a hard realization sometimes that not every year this school's going to produce a demon, all right, like Chase Young. So Maryland's been struggling because the dudes that we do have from the matter have them pan out, and we'll kind of strike out the last few years. Oh, well. But backing up Evan Gregory, the junior, will be Emilio Moran, a kid I'm really high on, another junior. So in our whole so far, we only have one senior in this entire offensive line. And starting right tackle will be Spencer Anderson, another junior. Second year started last year. Quite frankly, he's the leader of this line. He's the guy that's going to rally these guys. He's going to make sure guys perform to their abilities. Everybody play hard. That's Spencer Anderson. Spencer Anderson may not have the athletic prowess like some of the other guys like Jalen Duncan have, but Spencer is extremely competitive and he plays hard. One of the better offensive linemen last year in pass blocking in the Big Ten, the short season we do play. All right, backing up Spencer Anderson, our right tackle will be Emilio Moran, a kid that I'm really high on, a JUCO kid from Florida and a junior at that. I'm really, really high on Emilio Moran. Extremely, extremely high on him. All right, something's going on with this line in this room, but forget it. Let's continue doing this. And I just mentioned Spencer Anderson, right tackle. So basically, quick recap of our offensive tackles, offensive linemen. In our 2 deep and 3 deep, only one senior. That's Jehovah Branch, who was a starting left guard last year, who was forced to play some center. This year, he's starting out week 1, heading to week 1, who will be the starting right guard, which will be big for him, for his pro prospects going to the NFL, because they like guys who move around in college. All right, it makes it easier to teach them new shit in the NFL. All right, and now let's go to the wide receiver part. All right, the wide receivers, the skill sets part, the skill positions. Wide receiver starting at the X will be Dante Demas Jr. Again, the boy's a demon. I expect a massive season from him to put it all together this year and really put on. All right, Carlos Courier will back him up at the X. A senior kid, 6'5", 200 pounds. Now, when he came in with 6'5", lanky kid, barely 170 pounds. Now he's 6'5", 200 pounds. I expect that strength and that added strength and confidence to transfer to the field. Carlos is one of those kids that I really like because she could have transferred went somewhere else in the loaded ass receiver room, but he didn't. He stuck it out. He hang there, and now he's on the field in the 2 deep. I hope he shines in the senior year. All right. At the Z will be Daryl Jones. A surprise here, a little bit, mini surprise here, but that don't mean he's going to be the starter because. Or it could be Daryl Jones or Jason Jones on the depth chart. That's what the depth chart says. So I could really see Jason Jones actually starting here at the Z spot. But Daryl Jones, one of the finest deep ball runners. I love this guy since when he came out of high school in Virginia Beach. Has great ball skills, great deep ball skills, but he runs lazy routes, and I just never liked his concentration all throughout the game. Like some other player, like when the ball not coming on him, you know the ball not coming on Jason Daryl Jones. That's the problem for me. You got to run your routes, all of them, all the same, all the time, 100%. That's the power I have with him. Hopefully he steps up. If he doesn't this year, there's enough guys on the depth like McDougal, they call McDougal, that will take his spot and put him on the bench. Easy, all right? So he will start this game on as the starter. Daryl Jones is at the Z spot, a senior from Virginia Beach, or Jason Jones, a junior from Florida. Jason Jones, we all know who he is. We all remember his lights out game against Texas when he catch, passed, and ran for a touchdown. The kid has everything. One of the kind of like things people don't talk about Jason Jones skill set. One of his skill set is the way he runs with the ball. One of the best runners with the ball. I expect him to be a very dangerous guy in the short pass game for us this year, right? And at the age, the slot will be Rakim Jarrett, the sophomore. He showed out that he was a 5-star last year, especially in that Penn State game. He proved it all throughout the year, but especially in that Penn State game, he showed against guys who are comparable to his talent level. He dominated that Penn State game, all right? So Rakim Jarrett is back again for sophomore season. The kid's going to be a major star for us, all right? Backing him up at the slot, at the H, will be Brian Cobbs, a senior, 6'2", 215. This kid is from a local Virginia kid, Alexandria. I actually live in Alexandria right now. That's where I live at. And Dudes love this dude out here in this area, all right? He's an ultimate Maryland kid. He loves Maryland. He's an ultimate leader. He's a real man, all right? He's the type of dude I'm not worrying about life after football. Brian Cobbs can be fine. He's a leader of men, all right? And at this wide, the tight end position, he's back again, fresh from injury, missing out the whole year, the short season last year, COVID, due to a serious issue that got fixed and got solved. Thank God, that probably could have saved his life. But Chigozium Okonkwo is back again for the senior year. A little bit undersized in terms of height for the tight end position. But nowadays, teams say I look for a big, tall tight end. They want you to create mismatches and run like a receiver. And that's where Okonkwo is really good at. And that's why he's got invited to the Senior Bowl watch list. And I expect it to have a massive season from him to create mismatches against linebackers that can't keep up with him. Because our wide receivers, our skill set on the outside is going to force teams to have to double them. And then that's going to leave the middle for him to work. And backing them up will be another kid that I'm extremely high on, Corey Dyches, sophomore kid from Potomac. Kid played basketball, probably run a 4.5, easy in the 40, extremely fast, extremely athletic. You're going to see Corey do a bunch of one-hand catches through his career at Maryland. Extremely athletic, Corey Dyches is, all right? That's the backup by Tanner. And now it's time for us to transfer this shit over to the defensive side. I'm going to start with the defensive line, a spot that I think we've absolutely gotten better night and day since Locke's been here. Our D-line was not Big Ten quality when he got here. Now, it's not just Big Ten quality. We are slowly developing one of the better D-lines in the entire conference. But again, we're in a conference where you have to prove it first for people to believe it. This year, these guys put it on tape in the short season that they were getting better, but this year it's time for them to put it on the field for a whole season. All right? So again, starting at DN, the strong side DN will be Sam Okuwainu. Sam Okuwainu. Nobody on the team get this nigga's last name. Nobody pronounce it right. I really tried to pronounce this nigga's name right. Sam Okuwainu. All right? A senior kid. Mind you, when we got Sam, he's only played football for 2 years in JUCO. Before he came to JUCO, he's only been playing football for 2 years. So the guy is still fresh in the game. That's one of the struggles he had coming to Maryland. He's always been strong enough, but he's never understand the game. The game moved too fast for him. He couldn't read the game. Now, this year, one of the stats we kept talking about was how much he's starting to understand the game, how fast he reads the game, how fast he reads plays, and how much he's always in the backfield now. That's always a sign of a dude who understands the game if you make a lot of tackles behind the field, in the backfield. All right. So Sam, I expect you to be more involved in the backfield, tackles for losses, hitting running back, stopping the run. All right. Backing Sam up at the strong side, the end will be Tyler Baylor, a kid last year we were forced to play tight end because of Okonkwo being injured and just not having enough talent at the position. So we'll move him to tight end a little bit to help us on the blocking side. But we throw him one pass. He went on a route. He went out on a route one time. He looked so awkward. I knew, but right then he had never gonna see the field again as a tight end, and that's exactly what happened. I'm good to see him back as a DN because I think that's where his potential, his pro potential, is really at. All right, hopefully he can put it together. I don't like the fact that he moved, but he could just show me as a team guy. He was willing to move to a tight end last year. So shout out to you, Tyler Baylor. I hope you put it all together as a junior. He still got time for you to put it all together, my brother. All right. At nose tackle, the starting nose tackle will be Amir Fanau. This dude, one of the biggest D tackles we've had in Maryland for a long, long time. As good as it's gonna get. Like I really compare this guy to Jenkins, our great D tackles we had in the late '90s and early 2000s. Janoris Jenkins, I think. No, not Janoris Jenkins. I'm forgetting his name. But basically, this dude here remind me of him. Massive dude that can move. All right, over 330 pounds. Can move. Last year is one of the best run stuffers in the league in the short season we have. Hopefully can put it all together in a full season and show it because all these guys came to Maryland from JUCO to be pros and they've started to lay the tracks towards that. All right. At the tackle spot will be Mosiah Nasili Kit, a kid that I'm extremely high on. Last year he led the Big Ten in sacks per game. Now we didn't play enough games for him to lead the conference in overall sacks. But when he was out there, he led the Big Ten in sacks per game, and he was top 5 in the entire country in tackles for loss rate. So clearly, the guy knows the game. He has an extremely high IQ. This year, he's come back in camp a little bit stronger, a little bit quicker, a little bit more agile. So I expect him to have a little bit better get off of the ball, which can create havoc for a guy who knows the game. So I expect a lot more tackles for loss and a couple more sacks, maybe a couple of forced turnovers mixed in there. All right. Mosiah Nasili Kit. This kid can easily be a top 3 NFL draft pick easily. because he can't block him. I watched all the film last year. He was one of the hardest dudes for opposing teams to block. They couldn't block him, all right? And backing him up will be Greg Rose. Again, a walk-on that just earned a scholarship just recently when Kevin Durant called him and told him he got it, which is kind of cool. PG native to another PG native. But Greg Rose is a senior, a local kid from DeMatha who walked on to Maryland. He's backing up Mosiah and Silly. That's big time. Now every year you see a walk-on that backing up in week 1. So that goes to show you this walk-ons, I ain't just saying walk-ons. These are guys who are putting in the work and whooping some of the scholarship guys. All right? They love seeing it. They love seeing dudes who are putting in the work get rewarded with actual playing time. All right? And at the Jack or the other DN spot, the weak side DN, is going to be Daryl Ncaa. Again, when it comes to pure talent-wise, this dude has been Maryland's best pass rusher the last 2-3 years, but he's always been hurt whenever he's on the verge of exploding on the scene, on the national scene. So hopefully this year he can stay healthy, man. We need Daryl healthy, Ncaa healthy. He's one of the best pure pass rushers we have on the team. Like, it looks natural to him when this dude pass rush. He looks like an NFL player. He reminds me of Yannick Ncaa when we got him. He just natural. The pass rushing skills to him looks natural. I really pray he stays healthy this year. He can put it all together, because it can be a big-time season for Daryl Ncaa, because he's so quick off the ball. His get-off is amazing. He has good strength, good arms. Like, he has it all as a pass rusher. He just needs to stay healthy, all right, guys? All right? Back in Daryl Ncaa will be a senior, LaCharles Rogers, all right? Daryl, by the way, is a junior. As much as he's been hurt, he's still only a junior. This dude got time. A good season this year on tape, this dude could be going to the NFL, guys. Daryl Ncaa is talented, y'all. He just needs to put it together and stay healthy, inshallah. All right? And back in Ncaa will be LaCharles Rogers, the dude from Illinois Roosevelt. Rest in peace to his mom. He just lost his mom over the summer. But a senior who stuck it out through trying thing, didn't think about transferring like Jordan's cowards in them, or Chance Campbell's cowards in them. This dude stuck it out. And while he's not a starter right now, quite frankly, he's not better than Daryl Ncaa, but LaCharles Rogers has always been there as a depth piece. He's always come out and play hard. You know, it might not be the athlete as Ncaa is, but he's going to play hard and he's going to stuff the run. He's more of a stuff runner than a pass rusher, all right? But I've been hearing over the summer that he's got a lot better in the pass rushing department. That's good. It's good to hear for a senior getting better in the pass rushing, because you're going to need that if you're going to play in the NFL. I don't care how much of a good run stopper you are, you got to get out to the quarterback. That's what gets you the big bucks in the league. All right? Now, at the linebacker spot. At the Mike spot will be Ruben Hippolyte II, the sophomore kid from Florida. Amazing linebacker. As I told you guys, he's going to be Ray Lewis for us. This kid is as close thing as I've seen to Ray Lewis in terms of the velocity of which he just explodes to the football. Like, you just click and go. That's it. It's fast, quick, and it's hard hitting. And I'm hearing that the game is even slowing down for him, because last year he had troubles reading those slow developing plays where they'll go one way and they go the other way. He had trouble with that because he's such a quick, instinctive player. Teams kind of got him with that late in the year. Rutgers, that's what Rutgers did and destroyed us when they beat us last year. They tricked us with our young guy. But yeah, the staff, all I've heard over the summer is Ruben Hippolyte is getting so much better. He's diving into the playbook. He knows the system now in and out. So I expect him to actually take a leadership role this year. Believe it or not, as a sophomore, only a sophomore. But Ruben is that kind of dude. He has that leadership, natural leadership about him. The kid plays hard. He like motivating. He like thumping people. Those kids have always been good leaders, all right? Ruben Hippolyte, sophomore. He'll be backing up by a true freshman, Brandon Jennings, a kid that I'm extremely high on, 6'4", about 230. Mind you, he's an FSU legacy that we got from FSU, from Michigan. We stole him from Michigan, but he's an FSU legacy. So two blue bloods that we went and got this kid away from. That's very impressive by linebackers coach / the assistant defensive coordinator Brian Williams. Big time get this Brandon Jennings kid. In fact, this is the type of kid I see him developing to being a DN down the road, because I've heard he's still growing. So he can end up being 6'5", 6'6", about 250. At that point, he's a DN, all right, or a very mean linebacker, all right. The kid is already mean now. He is 6'4", runs hard, runs fast, hit hard, extremely, extremely mean. When he tackles you, he wants you to feel it. That's one thing I always like about those kids whose parents play in the NFL. They play with a little bit more mean streak, because their dads know what it takes to get there. And that's what Brandon Jennings is. He's mean. He's a mean kid. He may not be elite athlete in terms of agility, but when he gets there, he gets to the point and he makes you let him know he's there. All All right, love that about a linebacker. Those are the type of linebackers other teams have had, like Ohio State and Penn State, that put fear in our running backs. We got him now. All right, going forward, I can't wait for him to explode. He needs to get his feet wet. True freshman. All right. But he's going to back up Ruben Hippolyte at the Mike spot. At the wheel spot, returning starter for Najee Gautier. Showed a lot last year in the short season. Probably one of the better players in Maryland all throughout last year. One of the guys who really shined out, who showed out last year for us, who just stand out last year. Not many people stand out last year on defense. Chance Campbell and probably for Najee Gautier are the only guys that I can think of that really stand out. Hip still too, the young dude from Jersey. All right. So for Najee Gautier will be the starting wheel linebacker, a junior, very hard hitting. But right, well, one of the issues with him, sometimes he can be fooled easily as a linebacker. He takes a lot of missteps. And that's one of the things the staff is trying to totally work on him over the summer. So slow down a little bit on his reads and be sure a little bit more, because his click and react is extremely, extremely, extremely fast. Like the dude, when he sees it and he knows it, he's as quick as from point A to point B as any linebacker in the Big Ten. But the thing is, sometimes you move too fast before you be sure, and then you get put out of position and being undersized. In the Big Ten, you're gonna be eating a lot of grass if you take the wrong steps too much often. In the Big Ten, you're gonna end up eating grass, because that's gonna give linemen, those massive linemen, time to really get the angle on their blocks. At that point, you'll finish in the Big Ten. This linemen in the Big Ten are destroying linebackers here if you out of place. All right. So backing him up will be Jeremy Sprangen, a kid that I'm extremely, extremely high on. So is the staff. All you hear about from the staff is they're extremely high on this kid, Jeremy Sprangen, a JUCO kid that went to Independence Community College. We are so lucky, so glad that JUCO season, football season, got canceled due to COVID, because they had a football season, Jeremy would have been a 5-star JUCO prospect, and we would have lost him to the likes of Bama, LSU, and those bigger programs. It's just what it is. That's how good this kid is. This kid is so good. We really got lucky that teams didn't see him enough. There aren't enough film out there for just other big blocks to come after him. And he's going to shine, because he's a local kid from Maryland. I went to JUCO, now he's back home. Luckily, was able to get him at home. Luckily for us, there was no JUCO season, so other big blocks didn't see him. We got him before anybody else did. This kid is going to be a major star in Maryland. In fact, if anybody's going to lose their job, for Najee Gautier stand a chance because of his knack to not wrapping up all the time, that he can lose his job to Jeremy Springer, because Jeremy Springer can hit just as hard, but he's a rapper. He don't just thump you, but he will bring you down as well. That's what Jeremy Springer is. Now, because of the competition, sometimes you question those guys that will translate to the major college football, which Fernandez has proven he can do. So it depends. But I feel like if anybody going to lose the starting job on linebacker spot, it's going to be Fernandez Gautier losing the job to Jeremy Springer. And, of course, at the Sam linebacker, another surprise, a major surprise here, Deshaun Holt. This kid has all the talent in the world to be an extremely, extremely talented pass rusher. All right? So he's going to be starting at the Sam. Backing him up will be Frankie Burgess. A kid literally in the senior year in high school, he had like 20 sacks in Florida. Florida, guys, not some main high school football. Florida high school football. This kid had 20 sacks in his senior year there. All right? So, again, massive, massive kid here who's raw as fuck. That's what Frankie Burgess is. He's super raw. He needs to put on a little bit more weight. He's getting bigger, but he still needs to put on about 20, 30 more muscles to really, really take his ceiling, because pass rushing-wise, that kid is going to be one of the better pass rushers from the linebacker spot in the country. All right? Same thing with Deshaun Holt. One of the better pass rushers in the linebacker spot in the whole goddamn country. I'm so excited for those guys. I just need Deshaun Holt. He's came a long, long way from when we recruited him from a public school in Maryland, Westlake, to where he is now. It's night and day. But literally, when I saw him in high school, I knew he has a chance to be this good. Because you saw a kid who's just super raw, but long, lanky, can go one place to another place very quickly with his long strides. So again, Deshaun Holt, Sam linebacker, 6'4", about 240 now. When he came in, he was like 220. Now he's 6'4", 240 now. He can put on a good 20, 30 more pounds of muscles, can end up being 270, and he won't lose a beat. And he's going to be a dominant defensive lineman. That kid is. I mean, linebacker. Right now, he's a linebacker right now, but I think you're going to see him putting his hand on the dirt a lot more than standing up. Because his strength right now is to rush the passer. It's to rush the passer. All right? It's just what it is. That's his major strength right now, right? And backing him up, of course, it's going to be, what's his name? Frankie Burgess, like I said, a sophomore kid from Florida. A kid who has extremely, extremely high-level pass rushing talent. But he needs to put it together in the weight room first, all right? But I like Frankie Burgess' potential in the future. Give him 2 more years, man. That kid's going to be a monster for us, all right? And now for the DBs, man. probably arguably the best room in the entire defense. Just as the receiver is the best room in the entire offense, the DBs is the best room in the entire defense. Cornerback one, Deonte Banks. Lights out, shut down corner, major kid who's got nothing but better since he been in Maryland, all right? Deonte Banks will be deep cornerback one, a junior. Backing him up will be Kenny Bennett, a senior from Philly. This dude's another dude that could have left and transferred over because of all this portal situation, but he didn't. He stayed, he stuck it out, he worked, and he's still out here working. And he's in two deep now. Kenny Bennett had his first pick last year against Penn State, his hometown school. Penn State never gave him an offer, so I'm sure he would felt good seeing him get that pick at Penn State last year in Philly. So again, Kenny Bennett is a senior, massive kid, strong, very competitive dude. Sometimes he get beat too much in deep ball because he don't really play the ball well. But last year he made a strides in that and getting better in that. If he can take the next step in playing the ball, that's all he lacks because he's extremely good physical corner that can tackle. All right. Kenny Bennett will back up Deonte Banks at one corner spot, and the other corner spot, the starter will be Gregory and Bennett or Terps Steele. This is one situation where I can see both guys starting in this spot, in the other corner spot. But more than likely, I think it's going to be Gregory and Bennett starting this spot because the Terps, what Loxley want to do in his system is have two massive corners flanking everybody else on the defense. So basically, with Bennett being 6'2" and Deonte Banks being 6'1", 200 pounds, and Bennett being 6'2", 205 to 210 pounds, those are two massive corners you can put on the outside against any receiving talent, and you can feel good about it physically. All right. So again, I tell you, still, I got him being the slot corner, the starting nickel back on this team. All right. Because why? He still needs to put on strength. As good as he is, covering man on man. He still needs more strength to him still. And I think the slot will give him time to grow, put on that weight without having to be on the outside dealing with massive receivers. Last year, he did the best job shutting down that Indiana receiver, who many people are talking about is the first-round pick next year. He shut him down last year completely, had to do to only one catch. And that was like a little 5-yard route. And I feel like the only reason why they called that route was just so Terps still won't shut him down. Because it would have been very embarrassing for a junior getting kept being held catchless by a true freshman DB. So again, with no cap. So again, it was super impressive the season Terps still was able to put on tape. Many teams this year, I'm sure, won't target him. If they do target him, they're going to target him in different ways that, unlike last year when teams were trying to hit him with a lot of quick stuff, he's too good, he's too gluey. You ain't going to get away with that. So I expect him to try him a lot more this year with deep balls. So Terps still going to be the slot corner where he can be protected a little bit with those deep balls, where he can actually use his strength, which is quickness and agility, to put seatbelts on those slot pass catches. All right. And the third string DB on corner 2 will be true freshman Cooley. Again, you only see two true freshmen on this 2 deep so far. Only two on this entire defense. Only two true freshmen. And that's Cooley Jr., the corner here, and the other one being Brandon Jennings, the linebacker at the wheel spot. All right, the linebacker at the the jack? No, the linebacker at the Mike spot, Brandon Jennings, backing up Ibn Hippolyte. That's the only true freshmen. Those are the only two freshmen in the entire 2 deep for week 1. Brandon Jennings backing up Ibn Hippolyte at the Mike, right? Is it? Yeah, at the Mike. And then Cooley backing up Gregory and Bennett and Terps Steele at the cornerback 2 spot. Again, Cooley's a kid I'm extremely high on. During the spring game, all he did was hand seatbelts to a bunch of dudes. This kid can really cover. It's super gluey. In a way, it's like another Terps Steele. So it's really good to see Terps got 2 of them. Those are 2 kids, which potentially going to be 2 shutdown corners in the future next year going forward. All right. So again, Cooley Jr. one of the 2 true freshmen to be on the 2 deep, which is kind of a surprise because everybody talking about Demar Robinson, how dominant he's been in pass rushing scheme. But again, Demar has a couple of guys in front of him that are highly talented. All right, so it won't surprise me to see Demar actually work his way into the 2 deep by the second game. But in week 1, I think it's safe to say the staff trying to play safe with the guys they know can perform. And Courier proved it because he was in there doing spring ball. And he proved during spring he was one of the better DBs on the team. So it goes to see him on the 2 deep. All right, safety spot. We'll probably argue the best rooms in our DB room. Our DB room is elite, but our safeties are the best room in the DB room. And that's Nick Cross, starting safety Nick Cross, and the other starting safety will be Shane Mosley. 2 guys who played a lot of football the last 2 years, who played football all through last year, especially Shane Mosley, been a starter baby for 3 years now. So very hard hitting, probably one of the harder hitting mean safeties in the entire Big Ten. Shane Mosley is. Now, he's not as good in pass coverage. That's where Nick Cross is. Nick Cross is elite in pass defense. Elite in pass defense. All right. Now, Nick Cross struggled last year in week 1 against Northwestern, got benched, but he came back against Penn State. Was the reason why we won that ball game. Completely took Penn State out of everything they wanted to do on offense. That's Nick Cross. That's why you recruit big time defensive DBs, bro. Nick Cross was headed to FSU, got him to flip, big time game. But this is where the surprise is at in that 2 deep. Another surprise that I was talking about is the backup to Nick Cross. All right, the backup to Nick Cross is Glendon Miller, a kid that many people, when we got him out of Florida, freshman, many people were like, man, he's not Maryland level, he's not Big Ten level. But no, I knew then that we got one. This kid was a steal. This is a kid that literally just started playing football, Glendon Miller, like less than 2 years ago. He really hasn't been playing the game long, but this kid has the highest ceiling I saw. One of the highest ceiling I saw in that entire recruiting class we had 2 cycles ago. That was full of like five 4-stars, including 1 5-star, Rakim Jarrett. So again, that is when he had one of the highest ceiling in that class, Glendon Miller, and he's proven it already. Now, I actually expect him to, if you go back to my recruiting recap of that class, I said he was going to be a major ball player for us by his junior year. But the kid has already even surpassed my expectations. He's already on the 2 deep as a sophomore, true sophomore. That's freaking amazing. Mind you, our DB room is loaded, so this kid's beat out some pretty good other safety candidate for him to get this spot. Shout out to you, Glendon Miller, the Florida kid. Extremely high on this kid. Long, lanky, has amazing strides. I mean, like he's one of those long striders, but extremely awesome ball. Playing the ball. He's extremely awesome at playing the ball. Like, this kid is one of the best at playing the ball at safety. So now, mind you, he was a corner and a safety in high school. So I guess Maryland is moving fully to a full-time safety. Now, I don't know about his tackling skills because he's still lanky and skinny, but if the staff is that confident to put him in there, clearly the kid has come in camp in shape and ready to compete. That's credit to him as a true freshman. As a sophomore. All right, because last year he didn't see any playing time last year in that short season because he wasn't ready physically. He needed to put on weight. So good to see him in just 1 year. He's putting that much weight and that much physical growth to actually be trusted. But for the staff to feel confident to put him out there, shout out to you, Glendon Miller. At the other safety spot, Jordan Mosley, of course. Jordan Mosley will be backed up by Bear Brady. Bear Brady is a kid from Montgomery County. Extremely hard hitter, extremely hard hitter. Probably just as hard as hitter as Jordan Mosley. Now, I ain't sure he's as good of an athlete as Jordan Mosley is, but Brady has obviously improved to a point where the staff put him in the 2 deep because we have better other safety prospect in camp. The guys that I'm extremely high on in our safety group. So if the staff put him in there, like Isaiah Smith, I'm extremely high on him as a safety. But recently, I found that he got moved to a linebacker. So maybe that gives guys like Brady a chance to get in there in the 2 deep. But Brady is an extremely hard hitter. He knows the game. He understands the game. And his athletic abilities, I've gotten so much better now working with Kyle Davis, our athletic trainer. I had athletic trainer in Maryland. Like, this dude, his confidence is just grown. And Bear Brady is taking such a leap that he's in his 2 deep in his second year at Maryland. All right, extremely high on this kid too. Bear Brady is. All right. So again, guys, at nickel, of course, I would have told you nickel will be either Tahib Steele, and another guy to watch out for nickel will be Isaiah Hazel, in the form of wide receiver out of high school, who made him change positions, and now he's a DB. And all the words you've been hearing in camp, he's one of the fastest improving DBs in the entire team. And that's super good because you always knew Isaiah Hazel was a good athlete. But now he's proving that he's even better than that because if he can go to another position and be dominant, that's pretty good. So he's inked as one of the starters at nickel with Tahib Steele. All right. Special teams, Joseph Petrino, incoming starter. He's been here all 4 years. He started all 4 years at Maryland. It's kind of been up and down. Had a great rookie year, great freshman season, but has disappeared. Kind of had an up and down season since then. But this year, his backup is a kid that was a 5-star coming out of high school who ended up going to Oregon and who now transferred back home. And that's Harrison Beatty. So basically, if Joseph Petrino had any kind of up and down season that he's had the last 2 seasons, I expect Miller to have a very short list on his ass, pulling his ass right out, bringing Harrison Beatty. Harrison Beatty has shown me a lot in camp. Strong leg, very accurate. So I think he won the job. All right, to be honest with you, I think Harrison won the job, but Petrino didn't do anything to lose it. That's why I feel like he's still penciled in as a starter. You know what I'm saying? When a guy is starting for 4 years, unless he has a bad camp, you don't take the job from him. Especially when the guy who's competing in and hasn't been like that elite or, over him, hasn't been that much better over him. He's better. His ability has had a better camp, but he hasn't been that much better to where you can put all that experience away and start the new kid. No, it's not worth it. So, but however, I feel like Joseph Petrino gonna have an extremely short leash. If he struggle, he's gonna be ranked right at it. I'm talking about missed 2 kicks in the game, he's out. All right. And backing up our punter, a guy who started last year, he shared duties last year, punting duties with Colton Spangler, but this year he's the only starter, and that will be Anthony Piccarello, sophomore from New York. Love Anthony. He has a little bit of a social media following on Twitter. Kid is very bright. I love him. You know the type of kid that will be fine away from football. Like, that's how well-spoken, just well-intelligent-looking young man, all right? Anthony Piccarello, backing him up this year will be Brandon Segovia. As a kid, a freshman, true freshman kid, another true freshman. A true freshman kid who the staff is extremely high on. Strong leg, very accurate. This kid literally can put the ball exactly where he wanted. 80 to 90% of the time he kick it. That's extremely high. When you can know when you can point a spot and you can put the ball in there where you want it to go, that's a fucking weapon in this league as a punter. All right, but I guess the staff didn't feel fully confident to give him the job, so they still kept our starter from last year, I think, Piccarello. So Brandon Segovia is going to be the backup going into week 1, and backing him up will be Colton Spangler, who was sharing punting duties last year as a starter with Anthony Piccarello, but this year now he's the actual holder. He's the only holder on the team. He's going to be holding for kicks, punts, and all that shit. So that's Anthony. That will be Corey Spangler, and he's the third string punter on the depth chart. All right. For the long snapper will be John Berrar. All right. He's a grad transfer that came into the program. All right. Backing him up will be Ethan Doe, who will be a true freshman. Ethan Go will be a true freshman. All right. Kick return. This is special teams. Guys, you know I love special teams. Special teams are going to be who have Rakim Jarrett, Dante Demas, and Isaiah Jacobs. All 3 guys played special teams last year. Jacobs had fumbling issues. Hopefully he correct those. Maybe that's why he's third here on the depth chart on the kick return team, because you can't fumble, man. This year we can't afford fumble. We don't have that much experience, so we have talent, but we don't have experience. And one thing, one of those mistakes can quadruple with a young team, and you can have a team quitting early in the season. We don't want that. So Jacobs had his chance last year. Hopefully when you get a chance this year, he doesn't put the ball on the ground, all right? Because the kid has good return skills. He getting yards every time, but he just fumbles, all right? So now punt return will be Tahib Steele, will be the only starter there, all right? And backing him up will be Rakim Jarrett and Joyce Jones. 2 very agile guys who can do damage with that ball with that pigskin on their hand in the return game. All right. So again, Tahib Steele, a guy who was a wide receiver in high school, very good wide receiver in high school, that probably could have been recruited just as good as a wide receiver as he was as a DB, to be honest with you. All right. He gets a return this year. Very quick. Tahib Steele is a very quick, twitchy athlete. So those guys are always tough and harder to tackle on special teams. So he will be the starting return punt returner, back up by Rakim and Joyce Jones. So guys, that's the 2 deep guys. Like I said, one of the things that stand out to me is the youth in the offensive line. I feel like the staff is doing it intentionally. They want to get these young guys as ready as possible before they play those bigger games in the middle of the season with Ohio State, Michigans of the world, Panthers of the world. Get these kids' feet wet early with these teams, especially West Virginia and next week Howard. Then whatever teams who play Kent State. So get these kids to play early, because by the time the midseason comes, this guy's going to be veterans, bro. I'm trying to tell you, because there's a lot of talent in this group, all right? Offensive line, the 2-3 deep, it's all a bunch of sophomores and juniors, all right? Only one senior. That will be huge difference in the future, guys. That's one of the things that I noticed. And, of course, the backup quarterback, Rhys Udensky, is a kid that could have went to the NFL as a 5th rounder. He had a 5th round grade on him. Could have easily went to the NFL last year, possibly get drafted. But he decided, no, I want to improve my stock. Came back to Maryland. Now, he just happened to come to a team to have a quarterback in Tagovailoa, but he is so confident in himself that he decided, I'm still going to come. So basically, if Tagovailoa had any kind of issues he had, struggle, whether it's inconsistencies or turnovers, he will be on the bench for a kid we know is an NFL player, because NFL scouts had a 5th grade on him. All right, so that's also a big time thing because before he transferred over, Maryland had nobody behind Courier. If something happened to Courier, and mind you, we are Maryland after all, injuries do happen. Knock on wood. Hopefully that never happened to us this year. All right, but injuries do happen to our quarterbacks. So again, having Rhys, a guy who's proven, who we know has the arm talent to be a big time college quarterback. It's a big time move by Maryland to get him. It's a big time deal, all right? So, yeah, that's one of the things, like I said, I noticed about the team. Again, in the two deep, so far, only 2 freshmen on defense. That's kind of not what I expected. I expected guys like Damian Robertson and Andre Porter, like the DC kid, and Tommy Akinsotu. Like, those are all kids that I expected to be on the D line, at least on the 2 deep and linebacker spot. But it didn't happen. It's week 1. Only Cooley made it, and Brandon Jennings. And those both guys, physically, Cooley on the Cooley case, he probably might not be there yet, but athletically and competitively and just playing the game period, the guy is one of the best DBs we have on the team. Freshman or not, he's just one of the best shutdown corners we have on the team. He's a glue. He's like Talib Steele last year. And look what happened to Talib Steele, who was a freshman All-American. I'm calling it now. Cooley will be a freshman All-American this year, all right? Mark my words, all right? And Brandon Jennings, that shows you a lot if he's the only guy on the 2 deep on the linebackers. Because remember, we got like 3 or 4 linebacker recruits. For him to be in there, Jerem Sprang is another one. I'm extremely high on Jeremy Sprangley. I'm extremely high on this kid. I said this kid would have been a 5-star JUCO player at the JUCO season winner. Like, the fact that this JUCO season got canceled made that kid come to Maryland. That's just what it is. He's a way better player than a 3-star JUCO player. I guarantee you that. He's a way better player. He's going to prove it. All right? So, again, guys, I love this team. I love the competitive spirits in this depth chart so far. I love the mixture of young, old, youth. And quite frankly, I cannot wait for us to kick West Virginia's ass all over the place. We need to give them a good beatdown, y'all. Like, I'm talking about the type of beatdown that will make them not ever fuck with us again. But mind you, we owe them beatdown because they've kind of dominated the series the last 10 years, winning 9 of the 10. So again, we owe these guys a couple of beatings for the next few years, all right? Again, go Terps. I love this depth chart. Can't wait for the season. Go Terps. Go Courier. Go Tayon Fleet, go Demas, go Raheem, go Cobbs, go Jason Jones, go Deiches, go Okonkwo, go Okoyenu, like, go Brandon Jennings, go Fanaja Gote, go Emu Fana, go Masai, Nasili Kid, like, all you niggas, man, Dora, Namchimi, like, go, guys, go Terps, guys, let's get it. Week 1, baby, we on. All right, guys, that's the recap. Don't forget, guys, I'm probably going to have a preview to the actual game coming up. I'm going to release something else for the actual game. But this right here is just a recap of the depth chart. And go motherfucking Terps. Fuck West Virginia Mountaineers.